All right. So we went over the highlights in the 150 Wally. Detroit victorious tonight, but we already knew they were going to be number one.
Yes.
Boston, a huge win. They lock up number 2. Knicks are 3. Cavs beaten by the Hawks. That means the Cavs will finish 4. Atlanta's going to be either 5th or 6th. And still alive, Raptors, Magic, 76ers, all still alive for a top 6 spot. Hornets are a lock for a play-in spot. So it's all going to come down to Sunday in terms of determining who the Knicks will play in the first round.
We have to see also who has the tiebreaker between the Raptors and the Magic, because the Magic
actually may have that here.
Yeah, if you have that, because the Magic, if they tie the Raptors and they have the tiebreaker.
Hawks have the tie. We don't care about the Hawks, but the Hawks have the tiebreaker against Orlando, and I think Orlando has a tiebreaker against Toronto. Let me confirm that.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So if Orlando wins their last 2 games, they sneak into 6. Right. They get out of the play-in, and the Knicks would play Orlando. So you just got to be ready whoever you play. And the luxury the Knicks have is you can sit and you can rest and you can gear up for preparation time, and you know who you're going to play. It's not going to be a play-in type scenario where the 1 and 2 seed.
Is that a disadvantage if you're 1 or 2 and you don't know who you're going to be playing?
They didn't have the play-in when I played.
Right.
So I would think it's a little bit of a disadvantage, because when you know who you're going to play, you have like a whole week to prepare for that first game and for the series. But when you're watching the play-in, you're preparing and going to practice each day thinking, we're going to prepare for this team, we're going to prepare for that team, and you got to see how it plays out. But you got to split time for who you're preparing for when you're watching play-in scenarios.
Raptors had the tiebreaker over Orlando.
There you go.
So that's important.
So it looks like Raptors are probably going to be the 6th seed.
Right, and that would be a first-round matchup potentially against the Knicks. All right, Mike Brown's post-game comments around the corner. Knicks beating Toronto tonight easily, 112-95. Stay with us. And Knicks pretty much a wire-to-wire win, blowing out the Raptors, 112-95. We continue now from the corner 3, presented by Michelob Ultra, Superior Light Beer. So Sunday, it's a final game of the regular season. Knicks and Charlotte, note the start time. Pregame at 5:30 and the game at 6. Mike Brown's postgame comments tonight, as always, presented by Chase.
Another good start by our guys. You know, we talked about trying to start games a little better, and I thought we started the game the right way tonight. You know, everybody that played contributed. I thought Jordan off the bench gave us a big lift. Clarkson on both ends of the floor. Jose was big for us. He was big on both ends of the floor for us tonight. You know, he's been our main guy leading the cheers and uplifting everybody from the bench these last 2 games, even though he hadn't played. And so he's mentally been present at a really high level. And so when his number was called tonight to play, you know, major minutes for us, it was easy for him to do because, you know, his mind was right, you know, these last few games. But big lift by Jose. Our guys were really active defensively. You know, almost every loose ball that was out there on the ground we came up with. And, you know, Cat with a double-double. Mikal was big for us defensively. His physicality defensively was huge, and he guarded different guys. Sometimes he guarded the point guard. Sometimes he guarded Ingram. Other times he guarded Scotty Barnes, and he did a really good job. He was our defensive player of the game, but he did a really good job on both ends, especially defensively with his physicality and not sending the guys to the free throw line. So good win by our group tonight.
Have these last 2 games created confidence ahead of the playoffs and connection?
Have they what? I'm sorry.
Created confidence and connection ahead of the playoffs?
Yeah, you know, any time, you know, you win, it helps with the belief, especially if you win doing the things that you talked about trying to do going into the game. And, you know, we've been harping on our starts. We've been harping on our physicality. And, you know, we were pretty good in those areas tonight. And so to get a win while doing those things adds that confidence, adds that belief to the overall, you know, group. And, you know, the groups, you go through your ups and your downs, but the group has been connected for a while now, and that's a lot of fun to see.
This locks you in the 3rd seed. Is that Frankie's first thoughts on that? But and then also what that plan does that change plans for Sunday to sit guys and stuff?
I'm not sure. We'll talk about it probably. You want to try to go into the playoffs as healthy as possible, but we'll discuss it as a staff here in the next day or so, and then we'll see what happens.
Mike, with the fifth time that you guys beat the Raptors, what do you think is the consistent throughout these 5 games, and what special touches that makes this game more unique when it's close to with the postseason where you have a chance to meet them during playoffs?
Well, they're a hard-playing team. They really try to get up in you and pressure you and try to speed you up. And it's bothered us, but the more you can play against it, hopefully the more you're able to handle it. And I think as the games went along, our guys got better handling their pressure and their physicality, and so I thought that was important. Important for getting a feel for that over the 5 games, doing a better job with that, and then they play fast offensively, and so to be able to feel their speed every game, knowing that you have to get back in transition, has been, good for us to feel every game. And, I don't know who we'll play in the playoffs, but, we've played a lot of these teams 4 or 5 times or whatever it is. And just like teams feel, when it comes to us, we feel we have a pretty good feel on what most teams want to do. And it's no different for teams looking at us. So, we're just excited about getting to the playoffs no matter who we play.
There's been points this season where you said the defense had the offense had the defense, and it's flip-flop. At this point, do you feel like this is as close to even as it's been, or is there one side of the ball that you still feel a little bit better than the other side of it now? We defensively, we feel like we've been playing well. There's a level of physicality that we're bringing to the table every night without fouling. These last few games, our pick and roll defense has been pretty good. People are filling us on our contests, and then we still got to make sure we hit bodies when that ball goes up. But I like where we are on that end. And then even offensively, we face teams that switch. We face teams that cross match, putting a 5 on Josh, and we face it all year. And it's been fantastic from the standpoint that we have struggled at times with it, but we've gotten better, as the season has gone along, and we feel pretty good about facing zone. We feel pretty good about facing, a team that's going to cross match against us, and we feel pretty good about teams that are going to switch against us. So, offensively, we feel like we're in a pretty good place too.
Mike, it looks like Chad is as comfortable within the offense as he's been maybe all year. Do you agree with that? And B, can you maybe pinpoint a turning point for him when he looked like he became as comfortable as he's been all year during the stretch?
No, I think he is pretty comfortable, but it's not all on his shoulders. I got to take some of that too, because I had to figure out how to help him become comfortable without taking away from everybody else. And that's what a season's for. It's for you to experiment or dabble in this and dabble in that, or pull back here or give a little more there, whatever it takes to try to make sure it fits well for everybody without making it too one-sided. And so we feel like we're in a pretty good place with it. I don't know. I think it's been a couple of months now that we've felt pretty good about it. It's not going to always be perfect, but it definitely is in a good place, in a better place than when we started.
Ariel Huckporty, one of many bench players to contribute tonight. The Knicks beat the Raptors 112-95. All right, back with Wally. Your final day of the NBA's regular season is Sunday. All these games you see on your screen, 6 o'clock starts. Knicks wrap up against the Hornets. Magic, Celtics. Magic still alive for top 6 spot. Hawks are in a top 6 spot, but either 5th or 6th. Sixers still alive for top 6 spot. And the Raptors very much alive for a top 6 spot. They take on the Nets. So everything is set in terms of 1 through 4. Pistons, Celtics, Knicks, Cavs. Hawks are in either 5th or 6th. And then Sunday's going to determine, Wally, a lot of permutations and machinations. You better have the tiebreaker formulas.
All I worry about is who are the Knicks going to play, and the Raptors look like they'll probably beat the Nets because they don't want to fall into the play-in. They don't want to fall down to 7. So they'll either be 6, or if the Hawks lose to the Heat, then the Raptors bump to 5, and the Hawks would be 6. And that would mean the Knicks would play the Hawks.
Now, Miami.
So that's the only one that
Miami has nothing really to play for.
That's right. So
we'll have to see.
Yeah.
But we know the Knicks are 3rd. We know they're going to play in whoever finishes 6th, all to be determined on Sunday. Back with more after this. Stay with us, everybody.